Welcome to a short and maybe messy bonus episode of
Where I Can Top My Knee. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Kevin, and Jonathan, I strong-armed you into this like my name is Ming. So let's get into our thoughts on episode 7 of My Stand-In. So for folks who don't know, and you better know, My Stand-In is available to stream on iQiyi. 7 episodes are out. It will be 12 episodes when it's completed. We got a lot of spoilers because we're talking about episode 7. Okay, hopefully you listened to us last week.
Yes. Please go to watch all 7 episodes before watching this,
right?
Because we will spoil everything.
Yes, and we have to, because this show is the best thing that has happened in 2024. Because the rest of this year, like, we'll see how this election goes in November. Either way, it's going to be trash. So we at least got this.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so let's first talk about what's going on with Joe's mom, because that's how the episode starts, okay? And that leads us to the point of
to all these bad decisions.
Right, that's the catalyst of this, okay? So let's talk about it. Let's have a real conversation about it. I like Joe's mom, you know, but we also have to recognize that she is Joe's mom in the flesh, not Joe's mom,
not his real mom.
That's in the
this
spirit.
Is the body that he's in.
Right, it's the body that he's in. But we also have to recognize that Joe, who is occupying Flesh Joe's body, that's what I'm going to call him for now. Sounds gross, but that's the best way I can think it.
Joe number 1, Joe number 2.
Or Joe.
OG Joe. And
yeah. Joe Poom. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to say Joe, the Flesh Joe's body, okay? Joe, who is occupying the vessel, he lost his parents and never really got a chance to have that motherly love. So that's why, and I think that's important to mention, because
I mean that's why he's holding so tight to this woman,
right?
That he really doesn't know too much about, but he just knows that he can't lose her,
right?
And also he doesn't want to disrespect the body that he's in,
right?
Like, he knows how important she is in both aspects,
right? There's just so many things to consider, which all of this, like you said, is a catalyst for the decisions. Not all of them good decisions, but it makes sense, right? So we start off this episode where they're moving into a beautiful house with an auntie that can assist with the day-to-day. And especially since Joe's mom has to have pretty much regular care, regular hospital visits in order for her to continue living. Okay.
Because she's living. Yes.
Yeah.
She needs her weekly dialysis. Which is
her
crazy.
weekly dialysis, right. You know, so she needs this care. And the way he was able to get this money was through coming through a 1-year agreement that comes with 5 million baht.
And a beautiful house.
And a beautiful house.
From Ming.
And an auntie from Ming. And let's get into Ming right quick. We don't like him. He is a trash person. We have said this several times over, and there's no amount of times that that is enough, because he's a trash person.
Up is really doing a great job of making us hate this character.
He's doing
his
a great
acting
job.
is really, really good here.
Up is giving us what is supposed to be gave. Like, he's really doing it for us. But Ming is trash.
Ming is trash. But you can see where they're planting little things to show that, like, I don't know, to try to, not to redeem it, but to show that he still has some kind of humanity. You see somewhere. That he's hesitant to sleep with this new Joe that he's, purchased for a year, rented for a year.
Right.
So he's like hesitant to sleep with him because he's recalling all the memories of, original Joe being like, you only wanted me because I looked like Tong, and you liked it doing it from the back because I looked like Tong. Like,
right.
It's all catching up to him again here because now he's again using this Joe because he looked like Joe because Joe looked like Tong. It's kind of crazy.
Right. Because and you're right. They've been dropping little breadcrumbs here and there to make him seem more redeemable, right?
We see that he's remorseful for what he did, but you don't deserve Joe. You don't deserve Joe.
Yeah. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's try to be chronological. Okay.
All right.
Let's try not to get too ahead of ourselves.
So what else happened this episode? So he first, after his first night on duty with Ming, first day on the job with Ming, which is I feel like I'm surprised the mom hasn't been like, oh, she did ask, where'd you get this money for this house? But
she did.
She wasn't like, damn, like I'm gonna be in this house by myself if you're working all alone. If you're working all the time, not by herself because I know she has that to live in.
Yeah, so she has someone who is there watching her.
I know, but if I was her, I'd be like, is it worth it for me to, you're keeping me alive, but I never get to see you?
I don't know, but I think she was okay with that. I think her concern was where the money was coming from, because remember what she did. Yeah, because she's like, is the money come from Tarn?
I'm surprised he hasn't said like, "Hey, I paid off that debt." Like, has he, or is that still gonna come back to us?
That might come back to us. I'm glad you brought that up because I almost forgot.
Because the $5 million was that for the was that for the mom's care, or was that for to pay off her debt, or was that for both?
I think that was the fee that Ming was going to give him for the 1-year contract. Yeah, now what he used that $5 million for. It hasn't been fully explained to us exactly, other than the fact that he's using it for his mom's treatments and also for the new home and the auntie. We don't know if all that sums up to $5 million, but so I don't know if the debt will come up again, because I would assume, or at least hope so, he paid it off.
Yeah, I would assume, because if not, he didn't say right there. He wasn't like,
right.
No, like I got an advance at work and I paid off all our debts. Like, I'm not taking any more loans. Trust.
Right. So I'm hoping that's the case. But then I think another thing we need to point out as well too. I feel as if this is a slight time jump. Maybe about a month, maybe 2 months have passed. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like it's all in the same year. And
well, yeah, he has to get ready for this movie, and this movie's going along.
Right, and this movie's going along, and this movie is a film that Tong is bankrolling, and is a remake of his first movie. And
it's a sequel.
Or it's a sequel, but then they're recreating some scenes from it, which is interesting.
Yeah, they're recreating some iconic scenes, which is like, all right, just say you got no ideas, buddy.
Yeah, it's just like you're just trying. It sounds like he's just trying to amp up his fan base, because maybe Tong is at the point where, like Beyonce could do whatever she wants to do. Her fans are gonna go ahead and eat it up. Like, she could literally, shit gold, and then people will go ahead and eat it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
not shit gold.
And so I'm thinking like Tong allegedly is at the same level where it doesn't matter what he's going to bring out, that people will just go ahead and eat it. So it doesn't sound like it's going to be a good movie, in my opinion, but that's just me.
Oh my God.
But I think, I find this very interesting because Ming is kind of in this film, and then they go on this trip to the original site where they shot this in the first film. Mm-hmm. To remake the scene. The whole crew is there, and then that's when we get to see Tarn, who, remember, Joe didn't know who Tarn was, and that's because he never met him before. Like, mm-hmm. Joe is occupying the vessel that knows Tarn, and
I was kind of gag. I was like, oh, not you jumping into a gay's body too.
Right. So I was like, man, this Joe, like, and another toxic gay. That's what it seems
Yup.
like to me.
Literally, I was
So
like,
I'm
y'all need
like,
to get out
damn,
this
Joe can't get a
industry.
break.
Yeah, because this new Joe's body was a model. So I
Yeah.
guess he met Tarn while on a gig or something. And
Yeah. And
apparently the mom says that Tarn used Joe to get into the industry. Like he was a user.
yeah.
So that's one
And
of the
they
reasons why
were,
she didn't approve.
yeah. And I mean, she also had her own, I guess, homophobia that she was wrestling with. But then I guess, when Joe, the vessel Joe, tried to unalive himself.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was like, oh, that's how it happened. I'm surprised we didn't get like a little flashback or something of the scene. Or
Yeah,
maybe
and
there's more to it. There's more to it.
there's probably going to be more to it, and I guess we're going to see, because now Joe, the occupier of the vessel, is in a love square, a toxic love square at that.
Is it a square?
Well, remember, there's three
Unless you
guys
put
chasing him now. There's
Oh, I forgot about Soul.
Ming.
Oh my god.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, right. So it's a square.
It's
So now,
Ming,
like, you
Soul,
have
and
one guy
Tarn.
who is, and two corners of that square are toxic. Like, Son, I mean, I think Son feels the vibe, but Son is not trying to get with Joe because he sees Joe the vessel. He
Mm-hmm.
doesn't see Joe the occupier, even though, like, he's very interested in what Joe has to offer, or he wouldn't have been in that music video, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but of course, Ming doesn't want anyone close to him because, again, see, this is what pisses me off about Ming. Let's go on. Let's go have a rant about Ming. Okay.
Please do.
I don't understand
He's just so
how,
possessive, so like
and how,
territorial
what is not clicking. You lost someone
because of your
literally
because of this
because of your
behavior.
actions,
Because of
and
this
it's
kind of
like,
behavior, and you're still
and what
repeating
is
it
not
again and again.
clicking. Like, that is what's bothering me. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, Ming, charge it to the game. Like, for real. Because it's getting on my nerves.
Please.
Please. It's too much. So, then we also... Here's a question that I have. Well, actually, before we get to that question. So, let's talk about when Tong meets up with Tarn, and it's like, I'm trying to keep Ming away from Joe. What are your thoughts on that?
I was like, is Tong... At first, I thought he was, like, protecting Ming to be like, I see the way that Ming went crazy the past 2 years, still obsessed over this guy, that we both kind of, like, fucked up. Because they both had a hand in his demise.
Mm-hmm.
So, I feel like that was a way for... I first thought he was going to be like, I don't want I don't want Ming to, like, spiral over a new Joe. But then at the same time, it could also be him still controlling Ming and being like, I want Ming to still be obsessed with me and not stray away again over some new boy. I don't know. I still think Tong is a terrible person.
Tong is a very terrible person and is just as evil.
And I hope he gets exposed for his shitty behavior at the end of this story.
I hope so too.
I hope he loses his fan base. I hope, the movie flops.
I think the movie's gonna flop. It doesn't look that good, but then again, I think his fans love him so much they will eat it anyway, despite it being a bad movie. And I just, I think just the fact that he did that, I agree with you. Like, I'm on the fence. Well, no, I'm not on the fence. I was initially.
You're off the fence.
I know, yeah. I'm not. I'm off the fence. I'm on the side of the fence that says Tong literally wants to keep Ming away from anyone else because he wants Ming to focus only on him. He wants that number one fandom. Now, why that is, part of me was thinking, oh, maybe Tong has some lingering gay feelings for Ming. But
You
now
think?
I'm
No.
thinking, no, now I'm thinking it's not that at all. I think Tong is a narcissist. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what it is. And it has not, it's more of, I need to have that one person appreciate me full heartedly. So then I can use them for whatever diabolical plans I have, and they will go ahead and act accordingly. Because Ming will do it. We already know Ming will bend over backward for Tong. No
Literally, he
pun
was
intended.
crazy ride or
Okay?
die for this man that did not
Right,
like him. That's with his sister and does not like
right.
you.
Right. Oh, actually, no. Pun intended. He would bend over backwards for
Oh.
Tong. He would. So,
You think? Oh, so
oh,
he.
he would. He would.
Oh, so
Okay.
you're the one
He
doing the
would bend.
bending.
He would. Yeah, he is the one doing. He would be the one doing the bending.
Oh,
100%.
all right.
Like, let's be serious. Like, I think if Tong were to leave Ming's sister for Ming, which is not going to happen.
That's
It's
not gonna
not.
happen. That's
But
not
let's
gonna
say if he was, Ming would literally, his clothes would melt off his body right away. Literally. It'd be like, I'm ready.
happen.
Like they would evaporate from his body
He's probably gonna be a
almost
little
immediately.
hesitant, but maybe it is his dream come true. No, but
Maybe.
he wants that back. He wants that back. He would turn Tong around and be like, "Let me see."
Right. Right. So then, so part
I
of
mean,
me
that
is
leads
like,
us to that reveal at the end of. I guess Ming
right.
never realized. I thought Joe told him. I guess he didn't believe him.
Maybe. I don't know. But Tong taking credit for Joe's stunt acting during the first movie
You fell
is
in love
wild.
with Joe from the get go.
From the get-go. And the fact that he interrupted, like he forgot where he was, interrupted
Interrupted the
the
whole
whole
scene.
shoot and literally grabbed Joe, the vessel Joe, by the way, from behind and said, I am so sorry and please come back to me.
I'd be like,
You
get off
know,
me.
you know what's so crazy is I literally actually teared up during that part.
Did you really? I mean, Up's acting
I
there was amazing.
It was so good. And I literally felt the remorse. Like, I felt the remorse. And that leads us to this question. Is Ming actually redeemable? Now that we're at this point, is Ming redeemable?
I don't know. A part of me, of course, wants a happy ending, but I just want a happy ending for Joe. I still don't see an avenue. I mean, I don't even know if Joe's gonna get his body back. We don't know if he's going to, expose that he is the original Joe this whole time. But I still don't see a way for Ming to be like, let's restart. Let's forget the past 3 years. I don't know. What do you think?
That's where I am.
Because we still see that Ming, even after 2 years, he's still mourning Joe and still doesn't believe it. It's real that he's really gone. But he's still that same snotty, possessive, spoiled brat character.
Right.
Like, he really hasn't changed.
And that's what makes him... See, part of me, it's like, is this the breakthrough Ming needed in order to change?
Nacho Man
and we
dying,
won't know until...
knowing that the man that you originally loved was the guy you threw away and called a stand-in this whole time.
Right. And we may not notice this. I don't think we're going to have a full idea until maybe the next episode. Might not be until episode 9. Because there's also, like you said, we don't know if Joe is going to get back in his original body. We don't know. And if they will ever find it. We don't know what happened to the Joe of the vessel he's occupying, right? We also know that Ming is a trash person. And would he not be trash from this? We don't know. There's a lot of factors that need to be in alignment if they're going to come back together. But ideally, I'm okay with Ming and Joe not coming back together as long as Joe is happy. As long as Joe is happy, because there have just been... Ming has messed up so badly. I think he needs to have a rude awakening so then he can grow and then find somebody else. That's the way I feel. Like, good for growth, but you don't deserve to be with someone who wholeheartedly really loved you, but you were using him to substitute for someone else. And now that person is gone-ish, because they're kind of gone, but not really. And, you know, it's too late. Like, it's literally 2.5 years too late.
But we shall see. We still have how many episodes? 4 more episodes left?
We have 4 more. There's a lot that can come out of this. And I have to say, this show, the pacing has been pretty good. I feel as if every episode there has not been a dull moment. But yet, it hasn't.
They haven't let us breathe.
They haven't let us breathe, but it also doesn't feel rushed. So I'm hoping they keep up the momentum till the very last episode. So they're hands down. We will say this until our faces turn blue. That this show
have so far.
This show is great. Okay. So we will definitely come back to this next week. But now we need to go ahead and, leave. That's it for this bonus episode of Where I Can Top My Knee. Be safe and, don't be Ming.
Not don't be Ming. Just flat out don't be Ming.
Yeah,
be
just
Joe.
don't be
Ming.
Yeah, don't be Ming.
And hope the Joe in your life tops your knee.
I hope so too. Anyway,
personally
mine. Okay. Bye, y'all.
Okay, bye.